Mounce, BBG, chapter 22, sentence 6. No obvious subject as you kind of glance through there, so we're going to assume that it's built into the verb. We're going to assume that it's built into the verbs here. And as soon as you see that epsilon nu before anything else, you should know probably both of these are going to be third singular. And without knowing more context, he, she, it, we'll just run with he. And then you see the X here and the op here, and you probably figure those are prefixes, right? So hopefully by now you know eilthon. And again, is one of those freaky verbs that changes radically. You're going to go from erikomai in the present to elusomai in the future and to eilthon in the aorist. And again, once you know that, then you know you're dealing with a form of erikomai, but it's in the aorist. And this tells you it's in a third singular. So he, and again with an X, so you're going to say he went out. He went out, right? And then you have the same form over here, except that you have op, which is usually away. You go away from. So he went out and he went away, and then where did he go away to? To a lonely, and then top on, hopefully you recognize his place because he gives you lonely, but to a lonely place, right? So he went out and he went away to a lonely place, and then you have this, which is actually a contraction. If you don't recognize it right away, hopefully it didn't take too much work to see that there's kai and eke put together. It's actually a contraction. So, and there, okay, kai, eke, kake, they're just going to throw them together because of, vowel running into vowel. So, and there, and oh, I guess I gave it to you, duh. And then your verb, this one, hopefully you recognize enough. There's enough information here to recognize that it's coming from prosukomai. But then the question is, is this like what stem am I looking at? What stem am I looking at? Hopefully you see that and you say, well, it's there's my augment, because otherwise I'd be looking at an epsilon. So there's my augment, but is this a stem change or not? Am I looking at an aorist or am I looking at an imperfect? Well, what you're going to find is that in the aorist, the chi changes. So this is technically still a present stem, but it's learning it as prosukomai. You tell yourself that you're dealing with a deponent. So even you've got this passive ending, you're going to translate it as an active. And you see this and you say that's third singular, so you're talking about him again. It's still referring back to that same person that we've been talking about. So that lines up. But then you say, well, okay, wait a minute. If I'm working with a present stem, but I've got the augment, imperfect. Okay? So he went out and he went away to a lonely place and he was praying. And you're going to translate that and there he was praying. So you want to make sure you translate that as an imperfect as a result of that combination. Present stem plus augment, imperfect. And here you've got a tough one because, again, with no subject built in, you say, well, is it first singular or third plural? Hopefully you recognize Huron as the aorist stem from heurisco, and those first three letters would kind of point you in that direction, and you're just missing the isk. But as the aorist stem, that you're already helped there. Then you got to think, first singular, third plural. And if you weren't sure, you'd kind of go, well, okay, let's put that together with the rest of the sentence, because it would make sense that this verb would go together with this verb, and you'd be talking, and da 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 and da da, that this would be the same group, and this is clearly, third plural in the present. So knowing that this is third plural would probably want you to make you lean this direction, although technically I couldn't tell you were wrong if you translated and I found him and they said to him, or they say to him. This is, of course, historical present, because everything else is, past all around it pretty much. Um, but in any case, I would go with, and they found, again, as an aorist, they found him and they said, as a historical present, they said to him that, and again, following a verb of communication or cognition, hati is usually going to be translated that as a sort of a marker of indirect discourse. And here you have it following lego, so verb of communication. They said to him that, and this is what they said to him. Uh, all men, all people, again, as a nominative masculine plural. So all men, all people, everybody, uh, you know, um, and I'm fine with everybody because that's really kind of what you're saying when you say all men or all people. Um, then you got a third plural from zeteo. Uh, here is probably where I would want to go with a continuous instead of just a simple present, and say, everybody is seeking you, or all men are seeking you, or all people are seeking you. It's like they're busy doing it. So in this particular instance, I'd be real happy to, translate this with a sort of a continuous idea. And of course, say as you see that it's accusative. Only option there is a personal pronoun for that to be accusative. So one more time. And he went out and he went away to a lonely place, and there he was praying, and they found him, and they said to him that everybody or all men are seeking you.